Hello, welcome back to my channel, Mel Stampin' Gallery. I'm Mel, you're close to my heart maker. And for today's layout, we're going very fall themed here. And I'm using kind of a mishmash of things. I want to use the Four Seasons paper pack and sticker sheet from the core catalog. I might throw in some of the leftover crisp air paper that I have. I'm thinking of using some of the crisp air pocket cards in here, maybe even the stamp of the month for September, all to document this picture of my granddaughter standing in front of this little display in front of her Tiny Tots classroom. So if you'd like to see how this all comes together, stick around. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to bring in my Versamat and place that down on my work surface. And I've got a piece of 12 by 12 toffee colored or mocha colored cardstock that I'm just going to put down there, and that's going to be my base. Now let me show you what I'm thinking of so far. So I've got the picture and it's got all these vivid colors in it. And I just am doing a one-page spread, and I wanted it to be a little bit bigger, so I've mounted it on the matching brown cardstock and then the lighter color. And then I really like this pattern. You can see the subtle, looks like a weave, like a linen weave almost, with the shortbread color. And I kind of like all that together, how that all makes it stand out. And I did that because I do want to use, I just love this pumpkin print from the Crisp Air collection, which I know is no longer available, but you could use the leaf pattern paper, same colors from the Four Seasons paper pack. But because I wanted the pumpkins in here with the pumpkins on the paper, I wanted to use that. And you can see this is a little busy, so to break up that busyness, we want to use the different pattern papers that just have a little subtle texture to it. And you can see I've cut this pattern paper down, trimmed it down to, actually I think it's 11 and a half by 11 and a half. So that leaves just that 1/4 of an inch around the edge, just to make it stand out a little bit. Okay, so I've got, like I said, I've got my picture, and I'm going to mount that all together. That's going to go right about there in the center. And it's kind of a bluish tint to it, and the little scarecrow had some of the blue, so I do want to bring in some of that blue. So I've got this paper from the mix-in pack that I've cut. It's a 12 by 1.5, and that's probably going to go about there somewhere. All right, so it's still kind of busy. So what I want to do is I want to bring in some more paper. I'm not sure how I want to cut this down yet, but I'm thinking I want to use this wood grain pattern. It's kind of a grayish bluish tint to it. I want to use that in there somehow, maybe under this picture, and I'm going to cut it down to a different size. And you see how that's popping that off of there, and then probably some of this houndstooth pattern, and that's the opposite side of that leaf pattern from the Four Seasons. And I hope that that's going to kind of bring out the flowers in the picture. So that's where I'm going with this so far. Now I want to go ahead and kind of dry fit these pieces together. So I've got this wood grain pattern, and I believe that was from the mix-in pack. And that, I believe, is 1.5 by 12. And I think I'm going to put that over at the edge about there. And again, this blue is the same size, about 1.5 by 12. I'm going to overlap that just a little bit, right about there. And then I'll bring in my other pieces. So the houndstooth piece I ended up cutting at about 4 1/4 by 9 1/2. And I want to kind of make a collage, I guess, right about here. Kind of have these patterns overlap each other. This wood grain pattern I ended up cutting at, looks like 4 3/4 by 9, and that's going to get kind of overlapped, maybe right about like that. And then the photo will go here in the center. Okay. Now I wanted to cover up this gap here and down here, and I might have some embellishments to go there. I'm not quite sure, but like I said, I'm using bits and pieces from the different packs, and I had this little tag that came from the Crisp Air collection, so I think I'm going to slide that right down here to cover up that weird gap. And I've gone ahead and I've taken the sticky off with my anti-static pouch. And I had just this little scrap of these leaves with these colors, and just to maybe bring in some of that color over to the photo. I'm going to see how that looks if I just kind of scoot it in there a little bit. And then maybe I'll scoot this photo over even more. Okay, and then that means this has got to come over a little bit. So yeah, I've got to fiddle with that a little bit. So, oh, how about if I do this? Pull this out here. That'll go there. And then the photo can kind of go like that. Yeah, and I'll fiddle with that off camera. And then I've got this weird thing down here. Here's a piece of scrap. And all I have to do is, I think, slide that in there, and that'll take care of that part down there. So this is kind of looking good so far in the dry fit, with the dry fit together. And then once I get that all adhered down, then I can go ahead and work on all the embellishments. And I think I'll probably put like an embellishment cluster here. I'll do that for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that all down, and I'll be right back. I've got most of this adhered down right now, but I wanted to show you what I did here to the photo mat. I did some just ink distressing on the edges, and again, with so much pattern paper going on here, I think that just kind of helps set each layer apart from each other without it getting lost on the paper. And I've got a couple of the layers adhered down, so I thought I'd go ahead and show you just right here on this piece right here what I mean by the ink distressing. I'm sure if you've been scrapbooking for a while, you've probably seen it. You've probably seen other people do it, but I'm just basically taking any kind of a sponge tool that you have. It could be a dauber, could be a, this is an old kind of a Tim Holtz kind of a thing. It's got the wooden handle and the foam that you can just take off the back and change for different colors if you want to. And Close to My Heart does have a nice handle system with the domed foam. Domed foam, that rhymes. But I don't have those right now. But I did have this in my stash from years and years ago when this started to become popular. So I'm just going around the edges of this paper, and that'll just help that stand out a little bit more from the rest of the patterns. So you can kind of see how that makes that pop against those other patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to this pocket card and this tag, and I'll be right back. Since I have this blue over here, I felt like I needed some blue over here. So I did find this pocket card from the Crisp Air collection that went perfectly with that. So, and I inked up the edges. And I know I could gut that out or whatever, but I just don't want to fuss with that right now. I'm going to slide that in, and I know the picture's going to go right there. And I have not adhered my picture down yet, so I will go ahead and put this pocket card down there. And I'm just using my mono tape runner to put that down. And I know that's going to go, I'm just using the picture here for reference. I'm going to slide that on top of that wood grain pattern. And I think I want it to go kind of like that. Okay, so that's going to go there. Now I'll go ahead and adhere my photo down. Same thing, I'm not popping it up with any foam tape or anything. I'm just putting it on. It has enough layers on it with all the pattern paper. And that's just going to go right about like that. So it leaves just a little bit of all the different papers showing through there. And I like to take my sleeve and rub it, make sure it's all adhered down. And that looks good. So now it's time for embellishments. And like I said, I'm going to put some down here, and I think I might put some up here. Been working on my embellishments, and like I said, I knew I wanted a title here and embellishments up here And I wanted to bring in some of the sunflower images along with the pumpkin. So I turned to the digital art collection, the Chris Bear digital art collection, because it had the cute pumpkins and sunflowers, and it had this Hello Pumpkin title. So I actually spent quite a bit of time yesterday. I've been away from this for a couple of days. And I was cutting out the sunflower, so I've got that cut out and put together. And as I do, I like to ink up the edges. So I've got that, and the Hello Pumpkin title, I actually switched out the pumpkin that was on there, and I put an image that I found that had the pumpkins and the sunflowers, and I did a little print and cut. And I will put a card up here in the corner to link to a video that I did previously that shows how I do these kind of titles. So I'm going to put that title down here, and then I wanted to use some of the other embellishments from that Chris Bear collection. Some of these leaves, the cattails, I'm going to kind of stick those in the corner, and I have this green leaf that kind of brings some of that green into the photo. And then the cute tiny little pumpkin is going to go up here in the corner, like so. Got that dry fit out, and before I go ahead and adhere that all down, I want to tell you a little surprise I've been working on for you. I've been working on, if you like this sketch and you think you want to recreate it, I have actually been working on a sketch for you, so I will have that available. If you go to my website, you place a $50 order or more, I will email you a PDF of the sketch layout for this design free of charge. Now I'll go ahead and I'll finish all this up. I've got the little pumpkin. I'm just going to use a little of my liquid adhesive here. Let me scoot this out of the way so I don't get it dirty. And then, as I've said before, if you've been watching me previously, you know I like to use the liquid adhesive because it doesn't dry right away. And if I don't get it in the exact spot I want, I can slide it around. But that one looks pretty good right there. And then for down here, I've got some foam tape on the back of the title, but I don't really think I need it on the sunflower because it's got a lot of texture to it already. So I'm just going to put a little of that this mono glue in the center, and then that will allow me to push those leaves and cattails and things in underneath it. So let's just scoot that up like that. That's good. And then the Hello Pumpkin is going to go here, kind of like that. It's going to cover it up a little bit. Maybe about like that. I'll have to fiddle with that a little bit, but let me get these things down here. I'm going to put some mono here on the back of this leaf. And while I'm doing this, I'll just let you know that, like I said, I did go ahead and create a sketch of this layout. And if you visit my website, melaniegiesel.closetomyheart.com, and you place an order, qualifying order, I would be happy to email you a PDF of this sketch that I have created in Cricut Design Space, and I would email that to you once I see that you've placed an order. So make sure that you, when you do place that order, that you include your email address, of course, so that I can email you a copy of the sketch that I created for this layout. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a few little dots here on some of these leaves. So I don't need them everywhere. And this would also be a good time to remind you to please, if you like my videos, make sure you give me a thumbs up, you like and subscribe, and also leave me a little comment because that also helps me. I like to hear from you. I like to know what did you like, anything you'd like to see. And yeah, so like and subscribe if you like this video. Leave me a comment. And also don't forget to connect with me socially in the description box. I have all the links to my Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course all the supplies listed here that I've used will be listed below with links to purchase. So again, don't forget, if you like this layout and you'd like a sketch, the scrapbook sketch, so that you can recreate it, all you have to do is visit my website, place your order, and I will be happy to email you a PDF of the sketch. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.